1 2 1 2 test 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 1 2. Hello, hello, hey everybody. How are we doing? Pull that down a little bit. How are we doing? All well, I hope. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to politics, culture, and some other shit. Just drinking my coffee on this Sunday, the 25th of August, the year of our Lord 2024. Yeah, so it's all good. How are yous? Hope yous are well. Thanks for tuning in, thanks for downloading, thanks for listening. If you want to watch a video of this, head over to the Patreon and you can watch it ad free. Or, if you don't mind the adverts, you can go to YouTube. And as always on my Patreon, I'm just going to adjust my camera here one sec. Give me a second. Try and get it straighter. Yeah, as always, one tier only, £1 a month. That's it. So there we go. Okay, so let's do this. As the theme tune fades out in a lovely, timely fashion, and I pull the volume down till there's no more theme tune. There we go. So how are we? Hope we're well. Hope yous are all good. I'm looking forward to later on today. Liverpool are playing. I'm sporting my Liverpool top. Going to go around to the Woodville with Richie Boy and Jeannie Girl and Bran Boy and Louise Girl and Lisa Girl and a couple of others, I think. Tony Boy, Joseph Boy. And watch some football. Can't wait. Really, really excited about it. We're playing Brentford today. It should be a difficult match. But I think we'll probably have enough. Yeah, I think we've probably got enough to see the win. So there we go. How's life with you all? I hope yous are well. I saw a thing about the BBC, and I'm not knocking journalists, because there are loads of good journalists. There really are. But there's not enough of them, and that's the problem. And a lot of our institutions, our journalistic institutions, have been completely co-opted, and they've become little more than parroters of the state. You know, and that's not good enough. So I stopped paying so I put up a little post about not paying my TV license, and a couple of people sent me messages. There's a way of doing it. You should do it. Because I'm not contributing anymore. Whenever you see the BBC, like, two sides in what's going on in Gaza, I'm not doing that. Fuck that. And I know it's impossible to live without these things, really, if you're going to... Give me a second. 1 second. Adjust my light. There we go. That's a bit better. If you want to live in a modern world, it's hard to live without the social media channels and stuff like that. But I've also, in that, I had a YouTube premium account for years, which means that you could just watch YouTube ad free. And I deleted that as well. I don't pay that anymore. And I'm trying to work on getting rid of... I subscribe to the cloud, the Google cloud, for storing my files, and I use lots of Google services. I'm trying to migrate away from all of that. And I think, and as I'm figuring it out, I'm doing it, And it's part of the boycott, the BDS concept. It's important. We have to do these things. And as far as the BBC concerns, I mean, I don't watch the BBC at all. I do watch a bit of TV, but if I watch football, it's generally around the pub. So I'm paying that way. And if I watch films, it's usually on Netflix, things like that. So I don't watch it. So I don't see why I should be paying for it. But then the argument comes, well, there are people that watch it, elderly and things like that. Well, I'm so I'm yeah, I'm sorry about that, but I'm not going to fund a genocide so that you can watch a program on how to loot someone's attic or whatever the fuck they show on there these days. Um, so you can do it. So what you do is you can send them an email and tell them you're not paying anymore. Eventually you get the knock at the door. You just stop paying, right? So eventually you'll get enough letters. You haven't paid this, you need to pay this, etc., etc. You may be liable, criminal offence and all that, which it is. Unbelievably, it's a criminal offence to not pay to watch the television. So what? Eventually you'll get a knock at the door, which we got, and the guy, he was great. He was really sound. He said, you haven't been paying. I said, yes. I said, don't want to pay. He said, you don't want to pay. I says, no, I don't want to pay. He said, well, you kind of have to. I said, I don't have to. I don't want to. I don't want to fund it anymore, and I don't watch it. And he went, oh, that was where he changed his sort of his approach. He said, you don't watch it. I went, no. He says, we watch Netflix. And he could see from where he was at the door, you could see the TV in the living room. And I said, listen, we watch a bit of Netflix, sometimes, very rare, and it's plugged into a PlayStation, which again gets turned on about twice a year. And he went, right, okay. He says, he did say one thing though. He says that no, I can sort of ask to come in and inspect the TV myself. Now, he can ask, you don't have to let him in. He has to get a search warrant to do that, and he has to go to court to do that. So what you say in reply to that is just that. No, I know that you need to go and get a search warrant. I don't have to let you into my house. And that's the truth. But he didn't do that with me. He just says, yeah, cool, okay. Fine, I'll mark you down as off the programme, and you'll never hear from us again. So that was that, £150 saved. And I'm not contributing to... Let me see if I can find the video for you. I don't even know if I fucking saved it. It's here somewhere. Maybe it's on Instagram. It is, yes, sorry, it's on Instagram. So I'm not going to be contributing to the likes of this. Oh no, god damn it, I've lost it. I did watch it. Where the hell did I watch it? I watched it not that long, 10 months ago. No, gone. But anyway, but it was a BBC journalist feeding the narrative about what's going on in Palestine, as if and the person that she was interviewing handed her ass on a fucking plate, which was great to see. But anyway, I can't find it, so I can't. I'm just not doing it anymore. But I'm not criticizing the good journalists. There are loads of them, and they're very brave, and a lot of them do some amazing fucking work. But the institutions, not so much. So let's get on with it. So what we're going to do, just on the Palestine thing, I'm going to play this video for you. I don't know if you know. I'm sure you do. Guy called Tadhg Hickey, comedian from Cork, and he's class. He's wrong one. He's a big advocate for Palestine. So this podcast today, I'm just going to be going through social media roundup and little posts that I've saved. Little posts that I've saved over the past week. So we're just going to be hitting them and commenting on them. So here's Tadhg Hickey. Check this out. He put up this sketch. It's hilarious. Those of you listening to this, obviously you can't see it, but you'll get the gist of it. It's a fella going in to see basically his dole officer, and this is what happens.
Nice to see you again, Dave. Have you thought about what kind of work you'd be interested in pursuing?
Yeah.
Great. What are we thinking? Retail? Manual labour?
The army.
Oh, interesting. I think I have some leaflets about the Irish Army.
No, it's not the Irish Army I'm interested in.
The British Army?
Sorry? Who do you think I am? The devil? I want to join Hamas.
Oh, Jesus. Dave, I just mostly sort people out with Aldi, hairdressers, things like that. To level with you, I wouldn't have many contacts in the Islamist militant world.
My mind's made up.
Dave, this is a bit nuts. And anyway, I just wouldn't imagine Hamas are on the lookout for Irish lads in their 40s.
Well, we have to do something.
Are they not a terrorist organisation?
Terrorists? Let me show you the terrorists. Here's what Israel's been up to over the last 10 months.
1 minute later.
Let's go. Nice to see you again.
So, Tadhg Hickey, fair play to you, son. That was funny. Good joke whenever he says Hamas. And the guys, the dole officers react, oh, for fuck's sake. I usually just deal with fucking Aldi. So I saw that during the week, and predictably, I just immediately just went, he's fucked. They're going to fucking crucify him for this. And so it has come to pass, like a beautiful little Christmas parable. Check this out. So this is Tadhg's response. I don't know if this was the next day or later the same day, but he got fucking mutilated. Check this out.
Hi guys, I thought I'd tell you about something that happened to me yesterday that you might be interested in. So I posted a comedy sketch about a so-called terrorist group that sounds a little bit like hummus. Just to be really, really clear, it wasn't a puff piece or a recruitment video. It wasn't me screaming from the rooftops about how much I love them. It was a comedy sketch, because I'm a comedian. I believe that's an art form, rightly or wrongly. I was expressing my artistic drive, my creativity. I believed up until recently that, I live in the West, and we're always told here we've got freedom of expression. We're so lucky we can say what we want through our art. It's amazing, unlike all those nasty, restrictive brown and black countries. But what happened bizarrely was that the video was taken down from YouTube within, I think, an hour. I was suspended, and my ability to monetize videos was taken away from me. Meta similarly took down the post from Instagram, and I got some more warnings on Instagram, and they're kind of like official warnings, like, you've been really naughty this time, now we're going to get rid of your account. But I'm baffled, because the charge that I was levelled with was that I was endorsing or promoting a criminal or terrorist organisation through a comedy sketch. Baffling. Take a cursory look at YouTube yourselves there. There are numerous comedy sketches about ISIS. Some absolute comedy heroes of mine like Frankie Boyle and Steve Coogan have done iconic sketches on the IRA, the Irish Republican Army. In fact, I've got lots of sketches about the IRA up on YouTube. Mafia? Wow, you'll never get through all the sketches, the comedy sketches about the mafia online. So I think what's happening is that the tech fascists are moving to a new place now where they're effectively saying, it's not that we're against content that celebrates or promotes criminal or terrorist organizations. It's not that. We're just against any expression at all of solidarity with Palestinians. We have an open Palestine exceptionalism. That's what's happening with big tech. And I'm just pleading with people who still have a soul and who still believe in basic logic to call these people out, to call the tech fascists out. If there's lawyers out there, researchers out there, please do some work on this. It's not the biggest issue that we're facing right now. The genocide is undoubtedly the biggest issue. But these big tech companies are laughing in our faces, defying all logic, defying all reasonableness. They're effectively trying to outlaw Palestine. That's what they're trying to do, or any expression of support for Palestine. Now, luckily, YouTube's threat of demonetizing me is kind of laughable, because I've never monetized any video on YouTube. I don't have any ads. I don't give these creepy fascists a cent of my money so that they can sell their tat through advertising. I'm lucky. I've got people on Patreon and PayPal that support me so that I can remain independent. But aside from calling out these tech fascists, I also want to appeal to my fellow comedians, my fellow artists. If you haven't already got up off your arse to support Palestinians as they're being mass murdered every day, will you at least get up off your arse for yourselves? These people are trying to outlaw art. They're trying to outlaw satire. Do you think it's reasonable in the utopia that is the West that I, a comedian, would put up a sketch yesterday that had the audacity to just mention this group and that it would be ripped down and a stream of income would be denied me? Please, for the love of God, speak up. Hi, guys.
There we go. Well said, Mr. Hickey. Fantastic. He's really good. He's brilliant on this issue. Really, really good on this issue. With Palestine, I mean. But yeah, I mean, this is, you see this, if you are engaged with social media, with politics, leftist politics, I guess, on any social media platform, if you're engaged at all, you'll know what watching and being a part. I mean, I'm a very small, tiny, not even a raindrop in a sea of this stuff. But and again, I don't really. I have my own reasons for doing this, but it's certainly not financial. But people that are earning a living from it, the hoops that they have to jump through in order to engage, like some of the biggest issues of the day over the past number of years, some creators won't touch it. So Palestine, for example, the thing with COVID, you hear them saying all these code words, like the virus of unknown origin, or a certain, in the sort of air quotes, a certain medical procedure, and all this sort of. Now, I've got my own opinions on these things, and I don't really want to talk about them on this platform. I don't need to. I don't think I'm qualified to. But I have my own opinions. But I have questions. I have many questions. I have many things I would like explained about the way that particular subject went down over the years. But when I go to, if I come across a video or on YouTube especially, about it, they use all this coded language because the algorithm or YouTube will shut them down because of medical misinformation. Now that's what has happened here with Ty and this sketch, which is fucking really, really funny, as well as making a point, which is satire. It's what satire is. And we need satire. The best satire hits home like nothing else can. Poetry and music and don't kick as hard as a fucking in that moment. I mean, maybe long term, but good satire lives forever as well. And a good poem can do that too. And a good song can do that too. And a good play can do that too. But that 30-second satirical skit, that boom, boom, that wham, that's a sledgehammer through the door, isn't it? He didn't glorify anything. The cleverness of the sketch was so many points were addressed. The funniness of the sketch was the uncomfortableness of the interviewer. Because he knew he was in the shit. He knew he was in the shit just by the guy asking him to go and do what he wanted to do, to join hummus. He knew he was in trouble. But then, 1 minute of watching what's going on, 1 minute later, boom, he's going to go and join up with him. So, yeah, so fair play to you, Mr. Hickey. It's great. And yes, absolutely, I also echo your sentiments with shame on other artists and musicians and actors and who are. I get it if you're not if you're not into it, if you're not into politics, then maybe that's an excuse for you. How you can excuse a genocide, I don't understand. How you don't want to take a side in an election. Fair enough. That's up to yourself. I absolutely agree with you and agree with your right to do that. Or how you don't want to make public your political opinions. Fair enough. Listen. It's a fucking quagmire, and you're right. I think for you, you're right. But how anybody can sit on the fence with us and not voice an opinion about a literal genocide, you don't need to know an awful. You don't need to be armed to the teeth with facts. In fact, sometimes being overloaded, it can actually take you off the path of truth because you become too kind of. You start people. You can see people start to two-sidey the issue. But if you just look at it through your human eyes, with your humanitarianism leading your sentiment, then you can see clearly what is wrong. And we all of us, especially our artists who have got great voices and a platform to express themselves, should be calling all this out. So there we go. So that's first thing. That's it. Just going to blast through some social media stuff. Now, this next one, there's this little video here, is mad. If you can see it on the screen, Israel has gone full lunatic. Hezbollah and Iran have been saying for weeks they wouldn't attack as long as Israel agrees to a ceasefire deal in Gaza. And instead of saying yes, Israel choose to go on a rampage. And there's some Israeli missiles. And Hezbollah did respond with a missile barrage of their own. So yeah. So while I'm going to stay in Ireland for now, I'm showing you some stuff here. I want to where is yeah. So we're going to do this together.
Well, Ron, what is wrong?
So for those of you that are listening to this, we're going to do this together. I haven't listened to this, so we're going to do this. You and me. I'm going to stop and interject. So this is a TUV counsellor responding. His name's Ron something. Responding to the TUV exposed the eye-watering Irish language proposals from Belfast City Council. And this is on the Stephen Nolan show. Another fucking ball bag who I refuse to promote. But in the interest of entertaining myself, I'm going to do this. So let's have a wee listen and see what insights Ron from the TUV. I have a funny feeling I'm going to be, yeah, okay. I'm either going to go mental here, or I'm going to be laughing my ass off. Probably a bit of both. So let's do it.
Well, Ron, what is wrong in a society where we know some people embrace English, some embrace Irish, for everything to be bilingual?
You really haven't done this consultation justice. This is an eye-watering document. Anybody that hasn't been following this story, they'll know obviously that quite often we have a little debate on here about Irish language. This goes far beyond Irish language. This goes far beyond a corporate logo. It goes down to the very DNA about the streets of Belfast, where Irish language, what you said, would be equal. I think the original consultation that I seen said that Irish language would have the preeminence.
I know what he's doing here. The very DNA about the street names in Belfast. The vast, apart from the ones that were named after our colonialist murderers, the vast majority of them are Anglifications of Irish place names. So, the fucking DNA of Belfast, Belfast, yeah. The Irish name, Belfast, yeah. It's already. I'm only into this. Let's go back. Let's go to it.
where Irish language, what you said, would be equal. I think the original consultation that I seen said that Irish language would have the preeminence, and it has the preeminence everywhere in communications with Belfast City Council, with the corporate logo, and even...
No, I don't see that. It talks about bilingual.
Yeah.
It doesn't talk about preeminence.
That's right, and the original consultation that I seen as a councillor within Belfast City Council has preeminence there, where Irish language has the preeminence. So basically what Belfast City Council have done is they've went to Fors na Gaeilge as their main consultation in this document and said, what do you want? And this is an Irish language wish list, and it reaches deep in the society in Belfast. It's very, very divisive. It's going to destroy good relations within the city, and I have grave, grave concerns about this.
How is it going to destroy good relations, Ron? How?
So you've mentioned the corporate logo. I've already been approached by guys who work for the council who have came to me.
I've already been approached by guys, and he had to get in real quick that work for the council. Because whenever these fuckers say they've been approached by guys, it's usually the UVF, the UDA, prescribed terrorist organisations that still exist. Recently, during these our recent anti-immigrant protests, these fuckers, I don't know which, was it a member of the DUP? I can't remember. Said that the leaders of the UVF and the UDA should be projecting more influence on their society to bring these things to an end. And everyone went, are you fucking serious? You're asking the fucking terrorists to stop the riot? It's unbelievable. One of these self-owned moments. I love these things. Whenever these guys come out and they say something, and in that moment they completely expose themselves and expose their hypocrisy. Anyway, I digress. Onwards.
This corporate logo that's going to be on their shirts, it's going to be on their businesses, that it's going to be on all council facilities from Belfast Zoo to Belfast Castle. It's going to be on community gardens, mugga pitches, playgrounds, walks, toilets. If you see a sign that says left in a council facility, it's going to have left in Irish language underneath it as well. And that...
Oh my God. And so what? Good. Good. I said good. You don't like it? I don't care. I'm actually, I'm at the place now where I don't care, because I've been going through this my entire life, and I'm going to play you a little video in a minute as well about kneecap, and it sort of ties in with all of that. I don't care anymore. It's not unionist expressions of dominance. All of my life have been under military threat, under threat of death, arrest, sanction, lack of social opportunity, social mobility, all of these things, all my entire life. And it's people like this, and it's who are promoting that because it enabled them to dominate society. They were the kingmakers in our society. And they're never going to go along with anything Irish. Anything Irish. They don't want it. They hate it. And they hate it from their perspective, they hate it for very good reason. Because, as I talk about in this podcast all the time, the erasure of culture is essential to the colonialist place on this island. And everywhere colonisers go, the first thing they do is attack the culture. They'll destroy the museum or steal everything out of it. It's what they do. It's a part of the plan. And it works. It fucking works. They'll have you thinking that you're a second-class Englishman instead of a first-class Irishman. And you'll be glad to do it, and you'll doff the cap, and you say thank you. And that's why they don't want any Irish culture, no matter what it is. GAA, the Conrad na Gaeilge, trad sessions, Irish art, Irish language. They want nothing to do. They will reject it in any way, shape, or form because it gives you a sense of yourself. It fills a hole in your soul, inside of you, and in your mental, in your psyche. It creates a space where you can express yourself. It does. It really does. And ultimately, it gives you autonomy. It helps you create a sense of autonomy, a sense of self, a sense of pride in yourself, a sense of who you are. And it will keep the lost 6 counties a part of the UK forever if we don't just forge our way forward with this. We need to just do it. I'm not asking permission anymore. I'm just getting on with it. I'm very much in the fucking kneecap camp with all this stuff. But anyway. And I will say that I've said this before in this podcast. One of the reasons, it's not, I don't believe in the Protestant Catholic thing. That was always a fake construct. And by the way, the person that introduced that was Red Hugh O'Neill. It wasn't the Brits that actually introduced that aspect to the colonial struggle on this island. It was Red Hugh O'Neill. He wrote to the King of Spain, King Philip, saying, you know, all these potential good Catholic subjects for the Spanish crown are being, and you know, that's why then they sent an army down to Kinsale, and we all know what happened there. That was a fucking disaster. And Red Hugh went marching down, decimated his own army, worst winter in years, all that sort of stuff. It was Red Hugh O'Neill that brought that in. Now, I'm not saying, obviously, the British crown was a Protestant crown, so that was already introduced, really, or it was. If it wasn't, it certainly was going to be. But it was Red Hugh, historically, was the first guy that went big on the Catholic Protestant thing. I think it was destined to head that way anyway. But and it was and he did it as a construct. It was a fake construct at the time in order to try and draw the Spanish army in to defeat the English. So the Catholic Protestant thing for me was always used against us. It was always used against the Irish working class, and we fell for it, hook, line, and fucking sinker. But over the years, it doesn't fit us. It doesn't work. Right, you know, look at the United Irishmen. Oh, Protestants! Look, most of the leaders of the Celtic revival are Protestants. So many leaders in the Irish Rebellion in 1916, Easter Rising, Protestants. So the whole Protestant Catholic thing is fake, and it doesn't fit, and it doesn't feel well, and that's why I don't go for it. So whenever he's talking about anti-Irish language stuff. He's saying he's against the Irish language. He's a bigot. He's anti-Irish and anti-Catholic, Roman Catholic, as the TUV call us. So I don't go for it. You're Irish or you're not Irish. It's not Protestant and Catholic. You're Irish or you're not Irish. If you're British, you can be British. Okay, I mean, and I know in the United Ireland, British identity is going to be expressed. It's important that it is. You know my opinion on this podcast. If you've listened to it, what I think about the Orange Order. I'm no fucking fan, but they're going to have to be supported going forward in a United Ireland. We're going to have to figure a way around this. And if they remove the hateful elements of it, I will go and support an Orange March as a sign of solidarity. Not because I agree with anything going on, but as a sign of solidarity. For me, you're Irish or you're not Irish. And if you're not Irish and you're living in Ireland, if you're British, Ulster British, living in a United Ireland, we're going to have to figure that out. So let's get back to what Ron says.
That's just the corporate logo. There are people in the city who don't identify as Irish. They don't have an Irish identity.
English will be on the logo as well.
That's right.
For those people that don't identify. So why don't we all live together, sharing each other's preferences?
Because English isn't the cultural identity of the Ulster British people here either, Belfast City Council has taken a policy where they have said...
This is a draft proposal. It's up to the council, it's up to the public to feed into the council as to whether they want this to happen or not.
Yes, and I have absolutely no confidence whatsoever that Belfast City Council are going to be objective when this comes back. I'm convinced that it doesn't matter how people return the consultation, Belfast City Council has set their stall out. They're moved within, and this document was moved by Sinn Féin and Alliance on Belfast City Council, and Belfast City Council basically do whatever they're told on this. But it goes beyond that. Where I would have grave concerns as well is, in the document, the consultation, they say things like there has to be an audit of Irish language skills of existing staff. Well, what does that mean? They also said that there should be cultural awareness training for people who maybe aren't on board with this Irish language legislation. Well, what does that mean? I mean, there's real grave concerns here that anybody that raises a counter opinion or would have concerns about this are going to be squashed by Belfast City Council. It goes, you can argue about the cost of this because this goes into...
the cost, first of all, yeah, okay, it's going to cost money. Yeah, and I know what he's going to say before he says it. We could put this money. Why do we put this money in the NHS?
Areas like the Shankill Road, where I represent, it would be the Shankill Road Leisure Centre, it would be the Shankill Road Recycling Centre, Shankill Graveyard, would all have dual language signage. What's the cost going to be for the new corporate logo? And what's the cost going to be for the eventual vandalism when it will come because of this policy?
That's true.
Carl White?
Stephen.
Well, I wish I actually got the whole of that because I'd like to hear what Carl says. But yeah, so there we go. So there's the language strategy. I just pulled it up there. The language strategy commits the council to taking action on Irish, Ulster Scots, newcomer languages, sign languages, and communications for people with disabilities. I tried to see what the new corporate logo will look like, but I can't find it. But yeah, I'm all for it. I want it. I want it now. I want it yesterday. And it goes back to the point for me. Again, the boys at Kneecap would be, let me see if I can find this little video here. They would be a good example of, I remember Lurgan is a town that is famously divided geographically, like in the middle of the town, like this side is all Protestant, this side is all Catholic. It's not like that anymore. It's not like that anymore, and that's good. But I remember never being able to go. Never. Actually, it's not that I never was able to. I didn't really want to go up the town wearing maybe a GAA top. But the reason that I didn't do it was because I was afraid that I would get attacked. And I see these young people all walking about now, having these beautiful, wearing GAA tops and expressing them they're as a part of their Irish identity. They're not being triumphalist. They're not being horrible. They're just kids walking around wearing a Galway top or an Armagh top or whatever. I think it's brilliant. I love it. I love it. And I remember when I first became aware of that, and I realised that these kids were more confident than I was. And then I was still afraid. Made me feel a little bit ashamed. And I don't want to feel ashamed anymore. I'm not going to. And I'm going to express my cultural identity as I see fit. And I'm not going to be afraid of it. Because it's who I am. And I know it's not hateful. I know it doesn't wish harm on anybody. I know it doesn't require repression of anybody else, unlike unionism. I know it's just what it is. And again, all this stuff that's been going on, like Electric Picnic, we played Electric Picnic last week and I got to see a little bit of Kneecap. Don't know if you know about the Wolf Tones. There was 50,000 people. They were the headliner on the Sunday night, I think it was. And it was the biggest headliner crowd ever at Electric Picnic. And again, just in the interests of clarity, I think the Wolf Tones are pish. I really do. I don't like their music at all. When it comes to trad music, that's not what I'm about. But there was the predictable and usual furore about them people singing the rebel songs and the Celtic Symphony one. Who out there are that, and again, that is something that I don't partake in myself. But people aren't apologising, and they're not, as I said on the socials, we're not asking permission. It's happening. This is the way it is. And the more you tell these young people not to do it, the more they're going to do it. And I love that. And that to me is kind of what Kneecap have come to represent. Now, I haven't seen the film yet, but
the fact that English people are coming to our gigs now.
I haven't seen the film yet. I'm going to see it this week. I can't fucking wait. So check us out. This is the boys at Kneecap talking to politics. Joe.
The fact that English people are coming to our gigs now and paying, it's they're unwillingly kind of paying back reparations.
Fuck. The North stays, the North goes. I think most people in England probably don't care. Like, when it comes to music, if the music's good, people want to have a bit of crack. I think they're going to enjoy it. And I think nowadays people are a bit more conscious of the colonial history of England. So they're a bit more willing to accept different perspectives and what happened and have a bit of crack about it. And like also, like, I mean, look at the royal family. The last 20 years, like what they've been up to. Dodgy stuff altogether.
Longer than 20 years.
More than 20 years, I meant 2 fucking million years.
The fact that English people are coming to our gigs now and paying, it's they're unwillingly kind of paying back reparations.
Fuck. It's fucking English punters.
Everyone,
So
leaves and red.
we've secretly got them paying reparations. Give us all the spoils back as you took from the farming. Send all the food back.
Give us all our forests back.
Too late for that.
Cromwell needs to go over and plant all the trees again and die.
I think it's fucking brilliant. I love them. Again, and then the poster of this on Twitter, right? So his reply, or he put it up and he said, they're big for 5 minutes in this little pond, but their jaded Anglophobic bile won't travel. The UK will hate it and the US won't get it. Next, right? So now Frank Coughlin, I've come to realize is a West Brit bastard, and you know that what I think of them. I can't abide them. So he got completely fucking rinsed in the comments because he's not only is he a West Brit bastard, he's so out of his depth. He has no idea what he's talking about, saying that it won't travel and all this sort of stuff. So first reply, the lads have literally made a critically acclaimed movie with Hollywood A-lister Michael Fassbender and they're playing to huge crowds in the festival circuit. You're way out of touch. Old man yells at cloud. And then Frank, well, you're touching ageism aside and acknowledging their niche critical appeal, simply opining that it won't put bums on seats in big markets. I can acknowledge their talent but still disdain their troglodyte nationalism. You're the ageist one, sneering and young people and hoping they fail. You're an unpleasant man. And I'm going to like that comment because that's perfect. And then further on down, people just like, here's a guy. Hey, Frank, they've already gained a massive following in the US. Frank says, really? Can't seem to sell too many tickets for a small upcoming UK tour. And then somebody puts a poster of an American tour 6 months ago, and most of the dates are sold out. And nearly, I think all of the dates did sell out, all but 1 or 2, I think. It might not be your taste, but they produce bangers. Well, then outside Ireland, nobody gives a fuck about these industry plants. And then somebody says here, got your finger on the pulse as ever. Here's a clip from Reading. And there it is. That's if that's them being fucking niche, then, you know, I wish I was a bit more niche. And then listen, it is satire. There is a satirical element involved in them and all that, but there's a point there. And they do celebrate that sort of West Belfast street level fucking, likely lad sort of whatever, but that's what it is. That's just what it is. But, and like there's Irvin Welsh, just saw the Kneecap film, it was absolutely fucking phenomenal. Yeah, there. So Frank's ignorant critique of them is pure pish, and I think they're fucking great. So there we go. So that's that. Going to put a pin in that, and then staying in Ireland. Do you know who this fucking clown is? I have spotlit this dickhead in the past. This is a guy called Justin Barrett, and he's the head of the National Party, which is a new party. I've spoke about them in previous episodes, just sort of to take the piss. Not in any sort of, but it's just in relation to the rise of the far right and the anti-immigrant protests and pogroms and with the stuff that's going on in Ireland at the minute. And he posted this video of, I don't know what this would be called. I'm going to explain this to people that are listening. So he's standing on the side of a hill, and there's a Celtic cross on the hill, and he's dressed like some sort of proto-fascist, some Mussolini stroke Nazi Hitlerish type garb, mimicking that look, with a hat, like a peaked officer's cap. And he's got this little Celtic knot logo, and behind him are some of his acolytes, fully balaclavaed up with these flags. And this is a 2-minute video. We're going to have a little listen to him. This is real, by the way. I thought this was a joke. I thought this was a Photoshop. I thought some clever person had photoshopped his head onto something. This is real. This happened just the other day.
We cannot allow a political organisation which is the lifeblood of the nation to be at the mercy and whim of communist mobs, of leftist mobs. And so...
That's me. I'm one of those communist mobs. I'm a mobette. I'm a mobette that he's talking about. Just get that in there.
On Scian Horseshoe to the National Shield, the SN is here too and will be going forward to make sure that the Irish people in the first instance get an opportunity to hear what it is that we have to say, that we cannot be silenced, that we are not here to create violence. We are not here to provoke violence.
A sense of butt coming.
But we will protect ourselves. We will protect ourselves from the foreign invader.
The foreign invader.
We will protect ourselves.
I love these guys all talking about the foreign invader. They're going to protect us. They're going to protect Ireland from the foreign invader. 6 of Ireland's fucking counties are currently occupied by the British. These fuckers are nowhere to be found. That's why this whole fucking this current rise of anti-immigrant fascism, it's fucking pathetic. And not only will they not fight the actual foreign invader that's here, they will fucking partner up with them, like the Kulak Says No people did with the Belfast loyalists, who would have given any opportunity to kill me all of my life, they would have taken it. So fuck off with your foreign invader bullshit. You're a card.
From the red mobs. And we will protect ourselves too from the overreaching arm of so-called law and order.
By the way, and I will say this, he says we protect ourselves from the red mob as he's standing there dressed like a fucking literal Nazi. And I urge you to go and find this video, please. Justin Barrett, this cunt's name is. People call him Littler because he's about 4'3". And go and watch this video and educate yourself to the you will not believe the aesthetics that these people have chosen. Again, if you're listening to this, they're deliberately mimicking Nazism, Nazis, and he's going on about the red mob. Let me fucking warn you, Justin fucking Barrett, and your Nazi fucking four-man horde. It was the Red Army that sorted the fucking Nazis out. It was the Red Army that put an end to Nazism and Hitler. So the red fucking mob, you be just keep it in mind. You seem to be a fan of this period, but you don't seem to have come to the natural conclusion that if you fucking incite the red mob, when Nazis incite the red mob, look what's happened to them, historically speaking. It was the Red Army that killed more Nazis and injured more Germans during the war than anybody else. It was the Red Army that sacrificed more of themselves to defeat the Nazis. 20 million. Far more than any other nations combined. So it was the red mob that sorted out Nazism. So don't be poking the bear, you fucking midget cunt.
As we saw it expressed in Newtown, Mount Kennedy, as we see it expressed on a daily basis throughout this country, in Coolock and elsewhere, where the Gardaí go far beyond their legal rights, and where they crush the right to protest, and where the government is determined, says it's determined, that Irish nationalism's voice will not be heard. We here in Clonairon, we in the SN are here for the determined will to see it that Ireland's voice will be heard, no matter who tries to silence us. We will act within the law.
But
we will act as peaceful as we can.
But
we will also be ready to protect ourselves and defend ourselves with as much violence as is necessary.
Oh, much violence as is necessary. So, rightly so, getting rinsed. There's a picture of him and Rick Moranis side by side in his Spaceballs. And here is Mel Brooks and the producers doing a skit, and Barrett has been skillfully edited in to the skit. So, yeah, that's what and there's Father Ted, again, another one. I'm not going to play these just in case there's music in them and I get fucking copyright struck. So there you go. That's what's going on in Ireland at the minute. Isn't that fucking fantastic? So yeah, we're gonna push on here. Just another couple of quick videos, right? And they're all connected.
Mugged off at the moment. People
found this video on Twitter. James Schneider. I think that's him talking in the video. So let's have a listen to what he says. He's talking about cost of living, etc., all that sort of stuff in relation to the protests across the UK. Dozens of anti-racism rallies taken across the country today. This is from last week. Check it out.
People in this country, all of us, we're being really royally mugged off at the moment because housing is completely is unaffordable and is bad quality. And why is that? It's because social housing, council housing is being sold off and rents are soaring away. Our public services are on their knees Why is that? Because we've had 14 years of cuts to public services at the same time that corporations were given tax handouts. We've got rip-off bills and we've got pollution, we've got sewage in our waters and in our rivers. Why is that? Because we had the great rip-off of privatisation, which stuffs money in the pockets of people in tax havens, and we have to live with the consequences. Pay is down. Pay is basically at the same level it was 2 decades ago. Why? People can't organise in trade unions to improve their pay. Wealth is soaring away. Why is that? Wait, corporate lobbyists write our laws and they get huge, and we've had huge handouts and giveaways from the Bank of England. Did migrants cause any of that? Not one bit of it. Well, the bankers, the bosses and the billionaires and the political and media class that they control, they have caused all of this.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with that any more. And this is the point. When he says they're about billionaires, I've come to this realisation. I've always said there should be a cap on how much wealth a person is allowed to accumulate in a civilised society. Modern capitalism, as we've moved into the extremities of it, would say that's, well, they would call me a communist and all that, which it is no slur for me, but to them, obviously, it is. And would say that I'm jealous or I'm incapable and all this sort of shite. But there's a very good practical reason, very many practical reasons, but when we're talking about our political landscape, there's a very good reason why someone shouldn't be allowed in a civilised society to become a billionaire. Because then what happens is these people, through their hordes of wealth, accumulate onto themselves political influence. And this is being played out at the minute in the American election. I wonder, do I have... Actually, do you know what? I do. I have a little timely video here. I'll see. I might have it for you. This is being played out in real time in the American election at the minute. And we're seeing it. We're seeing it on the stage. So they have the thing called the DNC and the RNC, the Republican National Congress and the Democratic National Congress. And this is where they officially anoint their chosen candidate to go head-to-head in the election. Because there's only it's a two-party state in America instead of a one-party state like it is in communist China. But as I can't remember, was it Gandhi who said, in typical, it's a one-party state in America, but in typical American exuberance, they've got two of them. So they're both fucking same, right? So, both of these parties are just churning out one billionaire after literal billionaires going on stage and speaking to the vast audience of the Democratic audience is like a fucking cult. I mean, MAGA is like a cult too, obviously, but the Democrat, they're supposed to be the liberals. They're fucking not liberal at all. They're very, very right wing, but they are cult-like in their American way that they applaud and scream about fucking everything. It's bizarre. But they're bringing out these billionaires, like literal billionaires, and they're talking to these people about politics and American life and all. And they're talking about the danger of greed. And Michelle Obama's going up talking about people being greedy, and it's too. And she says, well, the woman's worth $170 million or something like that. And she hasn't done anything in her life. Barack Obama was the president of America, but he wasn't a great industrialist. But after he left office, he accumulated fortunes onto himself. At which point, I always thought that some sort of investigation should be triggered whenever some retired politician all of a sudden is buying £40 million properties in Martha's Vineyard. You go, well, where did you get this money? Surely this warrants an investigation. But it doesn't. And that's the point. That's the problem. But then one billionaire after another getting brought onto the stage to talk to the masses as if he's one of them. And the masses, instead of throwing fucking stones at him, applauding him, which is what happened. And this little video here, what I'm going to play you, it's not the video I was thinking.
The one thing that I will not forget.
This is one of them, or is that? I think that's Walls. I think that's the there. Yeah. So there's the RFK. So right, okay. So we'll play this. So this is how the media plays its part. And again, I know this is America, but it's one of the reasons. Back to the start of the video, start of this podcast, is why I've stopped contributing. I'm not contributing anymore to this stuff financially in my small way. And if we all do the same, it might make a difference. We do what we can. We just do what we can. Check this out for the co-opting of the media by the billionaire class. This is what we're talking about. And these same billionaires are trotted out to talk to these people as if they're one and the same. So check this out. They're talking about the Kamala Harris campaign, and the commentator here, Glenn Disson, says politics is the entertainment division of the military-industrial complex. That was Frank Zappa said that. So check this out.
The one thing that I will not forgive them for is their try to steal the joy from this country.
The joy felt by Americans backing the Harris-Walz ticket.
We are joyful warriors.
Being joyful is part of the American identity.
The joy factor.
Campaign of joy.
You're talking about radical joy.
It is downright joyful.
It looks like a joyous rally. It looks like a joyous occasion.
A real zeal and joy in the...
You see this all the time. You see this all the fucking time, and as soon as you see it, you automatically, or you must get suspicious and assume correctly you're being played. All across these media channels, all across America, they all use the same phrase. The messaging coming from the Democratic Party out through their media acolytes and through their channels, and they all use the same word. Joy. This campaign is joy, it's joyful, joy. Just keep saying it, joy, 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 joy. And everyone goes, oh, it's so happy, we're all so happy. Why is this allowed to happen? Because a few individuals have accumulated unto themselves such massive hoards of wealth that they're able to control the media. That's what this is. This is it being played out. This is the problem right there. These talking heads that are presented, these news people, these journalists, so-called journalists, they're not fucking journalists. Stenographers for the state, that's all they are. They read CIA press releases. These journalists are completely co-opted and using exactly the same language. And they're doing it to play you. That's why they're doing it. It's the only reason they're doing it. To play you. Because they disrespect you. Because they want the gears of the state to remain as they are. They're fabulous. These individuals are fabulously wealthy themselves. These high-profile newsreaders are worth many, many, many... They're worth hundreds of millions in and of their own selves. Some of them have masses of inherited wealth, as is the case with, what do you call that, Anderson Cooper, that famous American newsman. He comes from, it's not Bilderberg, but it's one of those big American royalty families. So that's why they do it. They want to keep their own power. They want to keep their own reality, their own narrative. And they're taken to one side and they're saying, this is the words that we're going to use. They know where it comes from. They know where the wording comes from, and they go along with it. They're propagandists. That's exactly what they are. And they'll make you feel like you're a fucking conspiracy theorist or some sort of a head case because you get suspicious.
campaign.
The joy that you're bringing back to the country.
Joyful, exuberant rally.
Thank you for bringing back the joy.
Power of joy.
Hope and joy.
Something incredibly joyful.
She does it all with a sense of joy.
Joy. Joy.
Joy.
Joy.
Joy.
Joy.
Joy.
Joy.
Joy.
Joy. Joy.
Imagine that. American politics. Joyful again.
What a fucking horror show that is. I don't know, what a shameful horror show that is. Now, just on the back of that, check this out. So RFK, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who I am certainly no fan of, especially although he wants to end the war in Ukraine, which would be great, but he's a complete fucking mouth-breathing fucking Zionist, which isn't great at all. In the middle of RFK explaining how the DNC rigged the primary against him, basically the DNC, the Democratic National Congress, used lawfare to keep RFK off the ticket to be a genuine challenger against Joe Biden initially and Kamala Harris, who has received not one vote. She has been completely anointed by party insiders, right? So he's explaining here how there we go. The DNC rigged the primary, replaced their candidate, so that was Biden for Harris, with one who didn't receive a single vote, Harris, and how the media covered up and censored it for him. He's explaining this as he's announcing he's dropping out of the Democratic race. And CNN, the biggest news channel in the world, cut away from it in the middle of his speech. Check it out.
At the palace coup against President Biden, the same shadowy DNC operatives appointed his successor, also without an election. They installed a candidate who was so unpopular with voters that she dropped out in 2020 without winning a single delegate. My uncle and my father both relished debate. They prided themselves on their capacity to go toe-to-toe with any opponent in the battle over ideas. They would be astonished to learn of a Democratic Party presidential nominee who, like Vice President Harris, has not appeared in a single interview or an unscripted encounter with voters for 35 days.
We've been listening to independent candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. from Phoenix outlining what led him to his quixotic quest for the White House to now dropping out and relinquishing the title of Democrat.
Quixotic, even that there, the quixotic request. So Don Quixote tilting at windmills. He's a madman going for, imaginary giants. Even using the word quixotic. This is an anchor supposed to be reporting what that's how you be a journalist. Report what you see. I'm an opinionator. I'm an opinion. I give opinion. I'm not a journalist. I'm commenting on things. That's not what he's supposed to be doing. And when he does it, it's to. And they cut away from him in the middle of explaining that Joe Biden was replaced in a palace coup. The replacement never received a single vote from anybody. She was anointed. And while he's going through his litany of accusations, all of which are provable and true, he brings the receipts. They cut across back to the studio, and the anchor just disparages what he's saying.
He had a series of complaints about the party. We're, of course, going to continue watching his remarks. There's a back and forth over whether he's going to endorse former President Donald Trump. We're going to break that down on the other side of a quick break. Stay with CNN.
They go to a fucking break. Unbelievable. But don't be saying, but sure, they're due to take a break. That's not what this was. That's not what this was. This was, they know what they're doing. They don't want their viewers to know. They want joy, joy, joy. It's all joyful. We're all happy over here. That's what this is. Don't kid yourself that it's anything different. So there we go. I wonder, do I have anything happy to end on? Oh yeah. I've played this video before, But I fucking love this guy. Ibrahim Traore, the president of Burkina Faso. Do this as tell me something. Burkina.
Les questions que mes générations se posent sont les suivantes.
So,
Si je peux me résumer, c'est de ne pas comprendre comment
I've reported on this stuff before, how
avec une nature généreuse de l'eau, du soleil,
Burkina Faso, Chad, Nigeria, these countries in that area of West Africa are in the process of decolonialization, and massively so. They're kicking the French out, they're kicking the Yanks out. Burkina Faso just last week announced that no more gold will be leaving their... maybe it was Niger. Announced that there's no more gold will be leaving their country, and it's all going to be processed in their own country. Now, they don't have the facilities to do that, but they're reaching out to the BRICS nations, so China and Russia, etc., and they're going to provide them, they're going to work it out that way, and they're going to process it in-house, which is fantastic news. And I don't see how it can be any, they can do any worse than what they've got now. But I've played this video before, but this is the basic, this is this dude's thinking, and I love this. So he's speaking in his own language. I think it's French, well, colonial French, but it's subtitled. I'll read the subtitles. Let's go. The question that my generation is asking themselves are the following, if I may sum it up. It is not to understand how Africa, with so much wealth on our soil, with a generous nature, water, sun in abundance, Africa is today the poorest continent. Brilliant. Africa is a hungry continent. And how is it that our heads of state are crossing the world to beg? There are questions that we ask ourselves, and we have no answer so far. We have the opportunity to forge new relations. And I hope that these relations can be the best, to give a better future to our peoples. As for Burkina Faso, today we have confronted more than 8 years with the most barbaric, most violent form of neocolonialism, imperialism. Slavery still has to impose on us. Oh, that's the end of it. So, the start is the point. How are we poor? How are we poor? We have all of this natural abundance. How are we poor? Well, the answer is neocolonialism, slavery, colonialism in general. And that's just so we can hear it again. There we go. So that's it. That's the podcast. We're done. We're going to jump. I'm going to leave shortly and go and watch Liverpool. I'm going to go for a coffee with my comrade Paddy, and then I'm going to go to the Woodville. So there we go. Toodles. That was it. Politics, culture, and some other shit. Hope you enjoyed it. Head over to Patreon or buy me a coffee if you want to leave a tip. Bye bye, everyone. Have fun.